All right, guys. If it's Tuesday around 11 Central, I know where everybody's at. We always get good attendance. I see many of the same familiar faces. These are guys that invested in the Edge course, and at some point, come to the live meeting every week, or you see it on recording where it gets loaded. Let's just do some. I hate using this word housekeeping, but let's do it. Let's say that word. Just some things to because it's a busy week. So let's go over some things, just like if this was an actual meeting in a conference room. This month and this week, we're going into last day of the month. First day of next month is tomorrow, May 1st. But today, some interesting things. Apple is reporting after today's close. If you're watching this on a recording, it's not as relevant, but it is for you guys. It behooves you to be in front of your workstation if you can, 3:30 Central. Futures markets reopen and Apple releases, all right? It doesn't take much to Google to see where the consensus are supposed to be for Apple's. There's two things, earnings per share and revenue. That's it. If they miss on both to one side or the other, it's bullish or bearish. This will move the NASDAQ, which will move the ES. What I've noticed in the past is, and this is important, you'll get the ES to trail. So you'll get Apple, I'll draw a little apple, gets really good earnings and they take off up. The NASDAQ follows it almost together at the same time, and then the E-minis will just kind of go up with it, but catchable. NASDAQ's going to be most sensitive because Apple represents 10% of the NASDAQ. So that release is generally 3:30 Central. The futures markets reopen right on Apple's earnings. So there's been also some other companies that have reported, like Google yesterday, Microsoft, Intel last week, Facebook. It's earnings season. So if you're not going to sit in front of your screen for this and you actually have nothing to do, then we got to get your eyes and ears checked, maybe your head too. If you got something to do, you can't sit in front of your screens, you can't. But this is about being a trader and sitting in front of the screen for this kind of opportunity, all right? Then we look at tomorrow at 7:15 Central, ADP, and then 9 Central, ISM. Why are these big numbers? ADP is a precursor to the unemployment report, not as big as ISM. ISM, generally the second biggest number of the month. It's a national look at manufacturing. Comes out the first business day of the month. That's tomorrow. That's 9 Central. And sometimes it influences the direction of the S&Ps all session long if it's a big upside or downside miss. Obviously, we preview this number and some of the sub-indexes of this number in the trading room before 9 a.m. Central tomorrow. Then tomorrow, the FOMC, 1 Central. Every Fed meeting has a press conference 30 minutes after the statement. Used to be every other meeting. They changed it. Every meeting, Powell, who's now the Fed chair, gives a press conference with Q&A at 1:30 Central. But the 1 o'clock statement is generally the more volatile piece. Even if there's a dud and there's nothing really new, I like to do my preview to this meeting about an hour before the meeting. That's how we used to do it in the prop firm. And so you wait until you get the last little bit of research or changes or ideas or where the market is tomorrow going into the number and everything. It's not a number per se, but it's an event. And it used to come out at 112, 115, 117. Used to be somewhere in there. And years ago, they said, no, 1 o'clock on the dot, it comes out. So the statement comes out. What dictates movement is a bearish or bullish tenor. If they're supposed to be dovish and they're hawkish, that's bearish. Say it again. If they're supposed to be dovish and they're hawkish, that's bearish for stocks and bonds. They're supposed to be dovish and they're hawkish, that's bearish. And they are supposed to be dovish. D for dovish. Dovish means interest rates are sideways to lower. The thought of higher rates are not even considered. When higher rates are considered, all right, that's hawkish. Those are the words used to describe a Fed that wants to raise interest rates, hawkish, lower interest rates, dovish. Now, if you looked at what the Fed's done, they were, I don't even need to show you guys a chart. I could tell you what it was. In 2007 and 8, late 07, and then all of 08 was the housing mortgage meltdown, the financial crisis. Rates were about 5 or 6%. Boom, they look like that. Right to zero as quick as they could. Then they introduced quantitative easing, bond buybacks, and everything else. It stayed on essentially zero until about a year and a half ago. And then they did this a quarter point every couple meetings. Then Trump, right around here, says, what the hell you guys doing? You're raising rates too much, too fast. And then about 4 or 5 months ago, or December, they did one more rate rise, and then they are going to stay flat. There were supposed to be other rate hikes, and I'll put them in dotted lines, throughout 2019. But the Fed decided to take this route for the rest of this year. There also might be a rate cut, for crying out loud. So back in this period, middle last year, this is what this is supposed to look like. They were supposed to continue to stair step it up all the way in here. And then some point late last year, they said we're going to do the last one in December and then just stay neutral, which turned out to be dovish. It's what gave stocks earlier this year. Remember how beat up the stocks were because of the aggressive hawkish Fed late last year and how they've all returned to higher highs? Well, that scenario right there is why. And I'm covering this because we're ahead of this meeting tomorrow at 1 o'clock. They have a 2-day meeting today and tomorrow. Used to be 2-day meeting every other meeting. They made it a 2-day meeting during the financial crisis. Used to be a press conference every other meeting. They made it every meeting. So the Fed gets together, releases their statement on rates, and if it's really dovish, both stocks and bonds love it price-wise, and they go up. If there's a hint, some dissension, they don't agree with low rates, they don't agree with any kind of cut this year, things that you can't even predict, but more of a hawkish tone, then stocks get beat up. And I don't want people to be surprised. I want you to take advantage of that opportunity. The only way you take advantage of any kind of tape bombs, statements released, scheduled, unscheduled, is to anticipate the reaction. So while it's a surprise, you know it's a surprise and you know how to react. You're not sitting there thinking, is this bullish or bearish? You know. Because if you have to think, is this bullish or bearish, it's too late. Market's probably gone. And even worse, you're in a position the wrong way. You got to diligently react. You're a driver of a car. Guy slams on his brakes in front of you. You're such a good driver. You're so aware. You know nobody's in your blind spot. Boom, you scoot over. You don't have to slam on your brakes. You have to worry about hitting the guy. Boom, you slide over. Because you know a second ago you're checking your blind spot. You got a good level of awareness. I had to yell at a guy a couple weeks ago because I parked on the side of the street that there was no parking. He comes out because of the baseball field. Too many baseball parents park there and clog up the street. And I says, no problem, And the other guy came out. And I said, this is the guy that put the sign up? He goes, yep, you baseball people. Got me a little mad. I got to be honest. You baseball people. I'm busting my ass trying to coach these kids, putting in all this time. And he calls me you baseball. No problem. Still calm. Get in the truck. These guys' level of awareness was very low. Very low. Their level of awareness should have been higher because I've got this big truck and they're standing behind it. And I'm moving this big truck, and I yell out my window kindly, get out of the way. Would you guys mind getting out of the way? Well, they don't hear me. Then I had to yell. Then it got heated. I turned into a trader with a position on. Maybe some swear words, but I'm not going to tell you. And I got out, and I says, you guys want me to move, but you're standing right behind my truck. You don't move, I'm going to run you both over. So hopefully that's not on the recording. It is, but I didn't run them over. Point is, no level of awareness. And as traders, you got to have them. You got to have it. If not, you're the problem. Now, Apple, ADP, ISM tomorrow, FOMC tomorrow afternoon. Payrolls on Friday. Busy week. Payrolls, the unemployment number, Friday, 7:30 Central. We'll open the trading room early like we always do. Sometimes there's some catchable moves. Sometimes there's not. We don't preview the payroll number until Friday morning because there could be some adjustments based on what ADP does. Sometimes ADP is a big miss, and they adjust their payroll numbers. Payroll numbers, if you don't know, you should know. Very important. Very, very important. Wait a second, John. He says they must have other words for you. No, they didn't. They were nervous. They were intimidated, and they lost the argument. The only way they would have won the argument or the problem is if they started punching me. Then I would have been like, I wouldn't have lost that either, but I would have been like, this ain't worth it. And by the way, there were no kids around. Well, people thinking that I do this in front of kids. It's all adults. And I was serious. As I was fine. I'll move the car across the street, but get out of my way. I'm going to run you over. Anyhow, don't get me aggravated again. I'm getting mad all over again. The girl is talking in the background. She's the seller. I'm going to go over that in a second. Payrolls. Non-farm payrolls is the key. 2 months ago, it came to like 20,000. And then last month, they were worried another negative print, and they got a good print of like 200,000. And they got the rate to stay at 3.8, I believe. So those are the two important parts. Number one, the non-farm payrolls, and number two, the unemployment rate. No, Tom, they weren't short. They were big, strong men. The sign said April 17th. It was April 15th. Or was April 17th. The sign said April 15th, no parking on the side of the street. So, Apple, ADP, FOMC, payrolls. I don't know why I even told that story. You guys got me all mad again. That's not necessarily this month because this month is over today. It's May 1st going into May. A couple other things. You got to be here for these two events next week. It's just not the same when you watch them on recording. Dr. Steenbarger is going to be here next week, May 7th. May 7th. Does that make sense? Yeah, next week is May 7th. He's going to be here. And then May 14th, we're going to have Brent Nord. Now, Brent, I'm going to put in I'm going to put in right now to give you guys a heads up. Oh, geez. I Googled or I searched on YouTube Brent Nord CME TV, and it had two people kissing. Now that's not him. Why does it CME TV have their videos up?
Even.
Well, I'll find it and post it in.
Even.
If you guys find a link, pop it in there. Bruce, pop it in there. That in the background is the Edge Audio, female selling, male buying. We're going to post in this link right now for Brent so you guys get a sense of who he is. Watch it. He's going to be here live 2 weeks from today, May 14th. Next week, Dr. Steenbarger. It'll be a better event probably for you if you're here live, but I will record it. This is an Edge-only event. If you guys that might have been in here for other reasons, you got to come into the Edge. It doesn't cost that much. It costs a lot less than trading losses that people suffer. I could tell you that. Hey, you know this thing? This is another thing I wanted to go over. I think I did a little bit last week, but laugh, learn, trade. Did I say this last week? Don't make it trade, laugh, learn. And that's what most people do. They try to trade, they laugh at the results, then they figure they have to learn. You want to be in a good, let your hair down disposition to learn the most, then begin to trade. Best tagline in the business. I'm going to be like Trump. That's the best tagline ever in the business. All right, we've got a link that Bruce has shared with us that I'm going to share with the group about Brent Nord will be with us 2 weeks. Was that the TV one? Oh, he did both. He did 2 on TV. He did another one, though. He's the guy on the far left. Watch it when you get a chance. Hold on, Jim. When you guys get a chance, click that link. Don't watch it now, but you're going to watch it when you got time. And most of you guys are losers, so you should have a lot of time today. Just joking. Not all you guys are losers. Just Carl and Bruce. No, I can't pick on Bruce. He got me the link. Ed, you're not a loser either. The old guys in that scrap, they weren't old guys. They were, one was young and one was older. And there was no fighting. I wish it was caught on. Honestly, I wish it was caught on a YouTube video because you'd have been proud. I'd have been proud that it stuck up for people who are too sensitive. No parking. All right. Where were we? You guys got the link. James, I gave you what you need this week. Apple ADP FOMC. Now, I think that Edge only, I got to talk about this. Edge audio only. That's what you've been hearing in the background. The reason why I got to talk about this is because I like it. How many guys on here are on Sierra? Give me a yes if you're using Sierra charts. A lot. Wow. A lot more than I thought. Now, some of you guys already have this, but most of you don't. And that is the audio Edge only. I didn't develop this. Someone developed it. It's not expensive. It's not recurring. It's just $70. If I didn't like it, I wouldn't bring this up to you guys. You know that. Get it. It's on the software page. Edge Zones Audio. Here inside the charts. There's a lifetime and an annual. Get the lifetime. It's $70 one-time fee. You'll like it. And if you don't like it, it costs you $70. Now, I even had a cool logo made. It's the best logo you ever see. That's what I'm going to start doing now, like Trump. That's the best logo, but with the best tagline ever. Now, you hear her in the background. What's interesting about her is that you could go into settings when you right-click. You go in this, study settings. You go to ETG audio. You right-click it, and the different name is the different voice. I'm actually going to be one of the voices, and I'm going to have another person be a real female voice, so it's not so robotic. But Anthony will be one of the sounds buying voice. Okay, you could set the internal volume so it's not that high. You don't have to do your other volume. So right now I got it at, let's put it at 20, which is pretty loud. And you're going to hear a male voice is when there's buying, like an Edge Zone Green would pop up. Okay. The name, when you change the names, what's cool is if you put it in a different, you shouldn't have it on too many different markets. Did you hear that? Oh, wait, I changed the wrong thing. Shoot.
9/4.
You could also change how many times she repeats or he repeats at the same price. So she'll, there's a joke in there, but I'm not going to say it. You could cut down how many times she repeats this at the same level. It's only going to work on Sierra, Nick. No, it should.
9/2.
It should, Lee. Or Nick. Works on mine.
9/2. 9/2. 9/2. 9/2. 9/2. 9/2. 9/2. 9/2. 9/2.
No, it'll work.
9/2.
You don't have to have, all you have to have is Sierra and this will work.
9/2. 9/2. 9/2.
So they have a daily repeat that I got to check because I'm not sure 100% if it's working accurately, but it's a nice feature because if you don't want her to repeat more than 5 times, then you put 5. And I'm not going to say the joke about be nice to have that in real life. But the global volume, you could turn down. The person that's squawking is different name, is a different accent. So what's neat, and then you could change the settings so you make them match the color. So when you get a red, you know you're going to get a female voice. When you get a green, you're going to get a male voice because your settings are the same as the Edge Zone visual, right? The other thing that's cool is different voice for a different market type of thing, right? This has to be set exactly like your Edge Zones or they're not going to, you're going to get some reds and not some voices and not some reds and greens, right? I have it where if you see a green, you see a male, you hear a male voice. If you get a red, you hear a female voice, right? Now, what's interesting is
even.
You hear her come in talking?
Even.
Let's go in and rewind it. I tried to do this in the room. Something is wrong with my Edge Zones. They're a little buggy there. I got to restart, but they're fine. Let's go back to what are we going to go back to? Oh, this area, 3675. I wanted to do this in the room, but I couldn't get the voice to come in. Listen to the voice when we have this come back. I think you guys will like this. First of all, you guys could hear the voices in the background, right? All right, good. Let it reload.
5/4.
I missed it. Got to go back 3 minutes. Yes, Ken says when I do it, I'll do it in my English accent. Yeah, no problem. I like doing things where people could laugh and make fun of me. I think that's awesome. I love being made fun of. All right, here it is. And 6.75, right in here, becomes the domestic fight.
6.75,
She
6.75,
says, not so fast.
6.75,
6.75.
6.75, 6.75, 6.75,
7/4,
I even said in the room, looks like he won because we went above it a couple ticks. And then I said, wait a second, not so fast. As soon as we crept back down, I'm like, she wins. What's the he, she? He is a buyer, she is a seller. As soon as it got back below him, she took over. So, as in life, you think you win an argument with your wife, but you didn't. And it zipped right back down. And at this moment was not just a bullish to bearish moment, it was a qualifier to take out the lows that had been sitting at 35 for the longest time. Let me shrink down this chart and open up this chart, which is not being replayed. You cannot, I'll even back this up, you cannot hold on to all of these swing lows, rotation forever. This is coming. And it's just a matter about being on the team when it comes. They stormed out of the hole after they went to this edge zone at 26, but still they broke out 35 to 26. And that was a decent win moment to say he won. No, he didn't. She did. And the audio, to me, I got to have both. I want the visual so I could see where they came in, and I want the audio because what it does for me is it allows me to use one of my other senses, which is missing in this business since it went from the floor to the computer. The sounds from the floor were helpful, subconsciously, consciously. The sounds that people made when they were stuck, the roar, those were helpful and intuitive to people who understood it. We missed that. You don't have that. Now, these robotic sounds that you hear, see, he came in at 29.25 and they just rolled right over him and went down another 4 ticks.
9 even.
That's what's important, is it's that not even held it. Now, this is moving pretty fast 5 times. She came in and sold 9 even, crept above her. So it's like, you're not going to be, now here's another little fight. You're not going to be as surprised. You're just following the noises. A good exercise is to turn around, listen to the voices, and then try to think where the price should be. But this was a pretty bearish reaction that anybody trying to pick a bottom at this point, and I said this in the room, we're being pretty stubborn. It had more to go. 26.25 was a decent, some decent downside. So anyway, that's the Edge Zone audio only. It only works on Sierra charts. It's only a $70 one-time fee payment. The time and development costs more than if I were to sell a bunch of it. So it's not a salesy pitch. It's a usefulness. Hey, I found use in it, and always a better way to see the same thing, which kind of lines up into Brett Steenbarger coming next week. He's a big proponent of always looking for your next edge. Always looking for your next edge. I think right now it only works for the NASDAQ and the ES. I think. It's a good question, Stan. They work, they're just in quarters. It won't be hard to create the voices for all the markets and all the prices.
8 even. 8 even.
But we just rolled it out a few weeks ago.
7 even. 7 even.
So again, it's about using that other sense that it's like if you're walking through a jungle hunting animals,
8
but you
quarter.
couldn't hear anything, you're at a
9
disadvantage.
even.
So we're hunters when we're trying to trade and we're not hearing some good things. The room is good if you use me correctly. Communication with other traders, if you use them correctly, that helps. That keeps us off the island of being very lonely, whether it's the team room or the trading room. But no, like when people, anybody that tells me that they'd be distracted by this, you're in the wrong business. You shouldn't be distracted by.
9
I should
quarter.
be able to have some people dressed up as bears playing. What do they call those things? Symbols in your ears, and you still should be able to focus on the market, right? So you this is good information. The whole thing with like a good trading room is you're listening to it a lot, some moments, and then other moments it's like background music. That's how you keep yourself from getting distracted with other things. Is you're not hanging on every word,
Even
but
quarter.
sometimes
Even
you are.
quarter. Even
Just
quarter.
like a song. Sometimes you're singing along with the song. Sometimes you barely know it's in the background because you just, noise filler.
1/2. 1/2.
But you could set to when she or he comes in. Like right now, it's actually here's another thing that's cool. It'll play back on recording when you go and record like you guys are listening to. So it'll play back the sounds when you go back to record or replay the recordings. That's what is popping in right now. Yeah. So go to edgetradinggroup.com software. I showed it. Again, get it, use it for a week. If you don't like it,
9 3/4. 9 3/4.
it costs you $70. People lose more than that in commissions in a day. But I could guarantee you most everybody will like it, and then they could adjust it,
9
tweak it.
3/4.
So far, dozen people got it. From the people I've heard from, they love it. So that should be important to you. Plus,
9
there's value for
9
me.
3/4.
It used to
9
bother me
3/4.
when I
9
kept hearing her
3/4.
come across, but
9
then I got
3/4.
used to
9
it.
3/4.
It doesn't
9
bother me at all.
3/4.
I could be on the phone and she's doing it. I almost feel like I know her. In fact, I got a date with her next week.
9 3/4. 9 3/4. 9 3/4. 9 3/4. 9 3/4. 9 3/4.
The only problem is I don't know what she looks like, so
9
it'd be in for a
9
surprise.
3/4. 9 3/4. 9 3/4. 9 3/4. 9 3/4. 9 3/4. 9 3/4.
Dave said he's already been divorced from her. I'm in trouble. You're right, Jim. You're in trouble when you start dating robot girls. All right, so this week, not really filled with a lot of content, filled with a lot of keep your head up and understand the importance of what's out this week with numbers, earnings, Fed, unemployment. Also, the U.S. China, there's going to be a move, and I hope I'm around to catch it. I hope someone's around to catch it. There's going to be a move at some point when they say they got a deal or something negative that they are walking away. The better move is they're walking away and they'll be pretty bearish. If they got a deal, my opinion is it knee jerks up the indexes and then starts to fade back, right? Sell the news type of, because it's already baked in a lot of that the U.S. China will have a deal. It's just a matter of when. So that excitement's priced in. They'll rally and then break, I think, if they announce they got a deal. The more volatile move would be weakness if they have something black and white that hits the tape that really says nothing. Like, I mean, not when I say nothing, walk away, no deal, something like that. The market's going to say we got it wrong, and they're going to have to price in what the uncertainty of a trade war means. There's also something I'm not going to show you yet, but I'll have something to show you probably within a few weeks with some cool Delta stuff. I'm always trying to find what could help qualify entries. That's the key. And that goes into Dr. Steenbarger's. You always are looking for an edge. That's what I'm doing for me, for us. That's what this Edge Audio is. I know there's a company that has done this audio, but for me, they do it on too many things. You want it on one thing, keep it simple, right? Keep it simple. Anybody with any questions? Next week, Steenbarger. The following week, Brett Nord. When you have time, watch that interview. He was on CME TV as well a month or two ago, Bruce. See if you could dig that one up. And Brett Nord has nothing to sell. He's not pitching anything. Neither does Brad. Brad's got a free podcast. They have nothing to sell, no intentions of selling anything. They're just quality guys, awesome traders that are very useful to talk to. And the fact that you guys have access to them to ask them real questions is cool.
9 3/4, 9 3/4, 9 3/4, 9 3/4, 9 3/4, 9 3/4.
I did on what, Ken? It should, James. Try it. If it doesn't, I'll void the transaction. Hold on a second. All right, guys. Have a safe week. Trading room. Most of you guys are in the trading room, so we'll see you tomorrow. We're going to open up trading room. Just a reminder, 7:15 Central for the unemployment number, which comes out at 7:30 on Friday. Also, for the trading room, I didn't mention it to the room guys, but we have Mark, longtime Edge guy, who ran a desk and is really good at picking out some of the issues and some of the stocks. So he'll come in with live updates in the trading room about what stocks pre-market are moving, what stocks in the middle of the day could be moving, could be influencing us, and the percentage of those stocks on the indexes. Real important stuff. Or I wouldn't have him come on and talk about it, but he's really good at it. And so he'll just come in for a minute in the morning and then maybe throughout the session. If something is pertinent, something's moving us, because sometimes there's an edge you can grab, sometimes there's not. We'll see you guys tomorrow or next week. Apple after the close. Don't forget. So long, guys.